Um, I'm, people have their their religious beliefs and things like that, and those are very personal to people. Um, that comment is in a comment thread about yesterday's school shooting, which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, uh, at a Catholic school while the elementary school aged children were inside of a chapel next to the school, sitting in church pews, looking up at Jesus Christ on the cross. The comment that started the thread where this comment is was God didn't do this. The absence of God did. The school children were sitting in church pews inside of a church, a Catholic church, attending a mass, looking up at a cross with Jesus Christ on the cross when they were shot. So I'm not sure how strong the absence of God argument is there. But let's turn to this one. God doesn't stop bullets. He doesn't defer or deter airplanes. He doesn't feed starving children. And he won't until we start loving ourselves, saving ourselves, and start to love each other. God is not our problem. It's challenging to know where to begin to unpack this particular argument, I guess. I went to church when I was a kid, not a ton. It's not something that my brother and I were immersed in, or our parents. Thank God, because I see people all over this app who well into their adult years are deconstructing from the traumatic religious upbringings that they had and the damage that that did to them and to their lives. Fortunately, my brother and I didn't have that. But, when we were with our grandparents on their farm, our grandpa was a deacon in the local Lutheran church. Our grandma was in the choir and was a Sunday school teacher. And that was a small Lutheran church in a rural community. I was taught that God was omnipotent and omniscient. All-knowing and all-powerful and benevolent. It's challenging for me to be respectful in these discussions, but I will try. It is unclear to me why anyone would worship a God who would permit elementary school age children to be shot to death while they were sitting in church pews inside of a church at Mass, worshiping him at that very moment that they were shot to death. That is extremely challenging for me to understand why anyone would worship a God that would not stop those bullets. It's not challenging for me. It's completely beyond me. It is completely beyond me. 100%. I think it was British actor, comedian Stephen Fry who was being interviewed, because I believe he's an atheist, and he was being asked, what if God is real and you die and you go up to the pearly gates? and God is there, and you have to justify your atheism. What would you ask God? And I think Stephen Fry looked at the person who was interviewing him, who was not an atheist, and thought he had like a real gotcha question there. And Stephen Fry looked at him, he's like, I would look at God and I would say, pediatric cancer? Really? Pediatric cancer? You allow little babies and little children to get pediatric cancer just as they're starting out there. What kind of cruel and capricious God would do that? Even if he didn't proactively do it, he allows it. I'm in that camp. I don't understand how you could worship a God who allows little school-aged children to be shot to death while they were sitting in pews in a church at the moment they are worshiping him. On their first day of school. I don't get it, and I never will. Nor do I want to.